Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. I am very excited to be bringing to you a Christmas in July video. Now, for those of you who aren't quite ready for Christmas, don't worry, I'm not gonna do it the whole month, but I am gonna do a couple videos. One, because I love Christmas, I'm excited for it. Other viewers do enjoy it as well. And if you like to make your own decor or make Christmas gifts, or maybe you sell stuff at craft fairs, you gotta get started ahead of time. So I figured we'd get started with some inspiration. And we are using things that I have found currently that you can find this time of year. So even if you don't have a ton of Christmas stuff on hand, you can still get started. So without anything further, let's get started with the first DIY. I picked up this pack of 3 items from the Target dollar spot. It was $3 and I thought it was a great find. They're cute in and of themselves, but I didn't need them for any patriotic decor, plus they didn't match my colors. So I thought it'd be fun to use these for Christmas, and that's what we're gonna do. So for this little book stack, I'm just going to take off the twine, which it just untied really easily, which was great because then of course you can reuse it. Then we're going to give everything a good sanding. Now I do apologize a couple times, the camera shakes. I have a new tripod, which helps me get some nice overhead shots, but when I bump it or the table, obviously the camera shakes, so I'm still getting used to it. So once I sanded that down, we're going to go ahead and paint this in white. Now I decided to paint the whole thing in white. Obviously you can do any shades, or not shades, any colors or whatever that you want. But I am doing this for my tier tray for Christmas that I think is a theme I'm going to go with. So that's why I'm choosing what I'm choosing. It didn't take a lot of coats. Covering the Stars took a couple of coats, and that little navy strip took a little bit more, but we just gave it a couple coats until I had the coverage that I wanted. I just used some really cheap acrylic paint from, I always want to say Cracker Barrel, but it's Apple Barrel, which is a Plaid product. Just wanted to put that out there. Now I've got these red stickers. I have these from the Dollar Tree. They are not my most favorite stickers, but they do work, and they're the colors that I needed. Now I've noticed that some of the stickers letters are not all of the same size. Like the A's seem a bit shorter, but that's okay. We're going to be going for kind of a whimsical themed tier tray. I've kind of been wanting to do that theme in my kitchen for Christmas, and so this year I'm going to make it happen. But you can use your Cricut, you can use stencils, you can use whatever you want for this. So I'm okay with it being not super perfect, although I did try to, line them up. And I just put on candy cane, and I took this red and white twine. This is from the Dollar Tree. This was in a 3-pack with other colors from the Dollar Tree, so I don't believe that was an actual Christmas item. And we're just going to wrap that around a couple times and tie a little bow on the top. You could add on some other embellishments, but my tier trays, they end up being kind of busy, so I thought it was nice to have something that was cute and whimsical, but wasn't overly busy. And I love how it came out. Now we're going to use this little sign, and I had this paper in my stash from Hobby Lobby. You can find all of the different seasonal stuff like that in the paper and stickers all year round at Hobby Lobby. I happen to already have this one in my stash, but you can certainly go out and find that stuff right now. And I'm just going to cut it down to size. I was cutting it down to fit the inside, so I couldn't really trace it from the outside, if that makes sense. And got that cut down, and we're just going to use some Mod Podge, and I'm going to put a thin layer here on the inside and just coat all of it. Make sure you get into the corners so that the paper doesn't come back up, and get a nice good coating and put the paper down. And then you want to smooth it out. I have this great little Mod Podge scraper tool, which is from Plaid, which is the creator. Plaid is the company that owns or that creates or makes Mod Podge. And so I use that to smooth it out, but you could use like an old credit card or gift card. And then I did go in my Christmas stash, and I did have some of these wood snowflake cutouts. These are from the Dollar Tree. They have them every year in different forms, and I found one that would fit in the sign. So I am just taking some filler and filling in that hole and letting that dry. And then I have a wooden cube from the Dollar Tree, and we are going to, I'm using a Gorilla Wood glue stick, but you could use whatever adhesive you want to. And I'm just going to glue that to the back. Once the wood glue is dry, or the glue, whatever you use, is dry, and the filler is dry, you're going to sand that off.
and then we're going to paint this. I am painting the edges of the wood block with some white paint just in case you can see it. You shouldn't be able to, but I just wanted to make sure it was painted in case you could. And then we're going to paint the snowflake. Once again, I'm just using the Apple Barrel white paint. It's a very inexpensive paint. You can find it anywhere. You can find it at Walmart, craft stores. You can find it online. And we're just going to give it one coat. These little wood pieces don't take much paint to get good coverage. And we're just going to, paint the whole thing. If you like this video and you enjoy Christmas DIYs, even in July, please give this video a thumbs up. Giving it a thumbs up helps me out so much. It lets YouTube know that people like my content, and it makes them more likely to share it with others. So I have this little wood piece set from the Dollar Tree from last year that I never got around to using it, and inside was this little candy cane piece, which was perfect because I was going to try to figure out how to make some candy canes, but this was even better. You can also find little embellishment pieces at Hobby Lobby and different cutouts at Dollar Tree every year. So lots of little options. You could use mini ornaments, but this is what I had, so this is what I'm going with. And I'm just going to paint this. I'm just going to paint red and white like candy canes. I'm going to paint the bow red, and I'm just using some, once again, that Apple Barrel paint and some little tiny paintbrushes from Plaid. And if you use small paintbrushes, you really don't have to have you have to have somewhat of a steady hand, but you don't have to have a crazy steady hand to do this. Just use a small paintbrush. And I do apologize. My head keeps peeking in on these shots. So once everything was dry, I'm going to use that Gorilla Wood Glue stick again to attach this. Once again, use whatever you want. You could just use some hot glue if you want. And we're going to attach this snowflake down, and then we're going to take some more glue and attach the candy canes on top of the snowflake. And I decided to put it a little bit off center, but do it however you want. And I thought this was a cute little sign, and it's going to look really cute on my tiered tray. All right, moving on, I have this little mini bead garland that was in that set. And originally I was going to try to make something that would go along with the other theme to use on my tiered tray, but what I really wanted to do was make a Christmas ornament. So this isn't going to match the rest of the items, but you can do it however you want. So I'm just cutting this kind of apart. I'm just using one of the navy beads, and I'm just going to leave it on the string to hold it while I paint it. I'm painting it black, so there's not a huge difference, but that was navy prior, and we're only going to use 3 beads all together, and I just needed to paint one of them. So you could use this with any beads you have. We're just going to make a cute little ornament. I'm going to use that star, and I'm just going to use a fine point Sharpie and write "Oh Holy Night" on it. You could, I don't know, use a paint pen, paintbrush, a stencil, a Cricut, whatever. I don't have a Cricut, so I like to show other options. And I'm going to use some of this twine from the book stack from the beginning, and I'm just burning it to get off any fuzzies so that it'll be easier to thread on. And we're going to thread on a black bead, or the black bead we painted, a white bead, and one of the natural beads. And I'm just going to tie, I just really sped this up, but I'm just going to tie a little loop at the top, and then I'm putting some tape on the bottom part because it was just kept fraying on me, and that made it easier to thread the star through. And we're just going to tie that on to the bottom and trim it off. And then I was afraid that the twine would kind of come undone from the knot, so I just took some clear glue and dabbed this on each of the knots and spread it around with my finger. You could also just use some hot glue, but I didn't want to heat up my hot glue gun just for this. So that's all there is for this one, and it's going to be a cute little ornament on my tree. And I don't have any little trees out to show you. I guess I could have gone through my Christmas bins, but you can get the idea. All right, and now for this last one, I have this sign from the Dollar Tree. This is in their summer stuff, and I pulled out my hairdryer to heat up the glue to pull the sun off, and then I realized I thought I could just do it, just push on it slowly. I didn't need to heat it up at all. It's just attached with some glue and those little wood pegs. So I was able to pull one of the pegs off, and then the other one, I just ended up kind of, like the wood kept breaking off, so I just trimmed it off as much as I could. So whether you're able to get the pegs out or not, you can still make this happen. And I'm going to use some more of that filler and fill in that little hole on the top, and then let that dry. I think it takes like 20 or 30 minutes to dry, or you can wipe it with a damp paper towel. I usually just let it fully dry. And then we're going to sand it down. I'm going to sand off whatever's left of that wood stub as well, and then just sanding down the whole thing. And it didn't really, I got a little frustrated because you could still see these words through because I'm painting here with red, as you can see. And I don't understand because it didn't seem like it was, what do I want to say, like carved out, so there was indentations, but you could still see the words were coming through. So I sanded it down, painted it again, and I don't know. I don't know how many coats of paint it would have taken to not be able to see that through. So sometimes your DIYs are just a little bit of trial and error, and mine usually are. And if you like that kind of thing, if you're enjoying this video and you haven't yet subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you would consider pushing that red subscribe button and turning on your notification bell so you don't miss out on my future videos. I try to keep it simple and also real and share with you kind of the struggle sometimes. And I was going to originally leave the edges just their natural color, and then I remembered what the top looked like, and so I was like, yeah, I got to paint it. So I'm going in with some black just for some contrast, but you're going to see we're going to go in a couple different directions here. So the front piece, I was realizing it was just not getting the coverage that I wanted over the words that were written there. So I'm going to use my hair dryer, or you can use a heat gun, and I'm going to scrape off the sticker from the back, scrape off the glue, and I'm going to sand it, heat it, scrape it until I have it all cleaned up. It wasn't hard to do at all, but I just wanted to get all of that stickiness because we're now going to paint the back. So then I totally forgot what I was planning to do, and I started painting this black. And I didn't mean to paint it black, but then I was like, well, I guess I'll just finish that up. And then I went in with some red paint once it was dry. And because I had the black, it took a couple of coats of red. So it would take less if you use chalk paint, but I wanted to use my acrylic paint today. So I went over this, I think maybe 3 coats, just letting it dry in between. And we were going with red on this side. And yeah, you'll see what we end up doing with the other side. Because then I was like, I don't actually want to do a one-sided sign. I want to do a two-sided sign. So I figured out a way to make the other side work, even though the writing was having a hard time like peeking through the paint. We're going to stick with the red side for now. I have these white stickers. They are from Hobby Lobby, but first I wanted to draw a line kind of to separate what would be like 2 blocks stacked on top of each other. And I just used my ruler and a white metallic marker pen thing from Dollar Tree, which honestly I'm not a huge fan of. And you're going to see my hair, my head pops in, and it causes it to become unfocused. But you're going to use whatever stickers you've got. I love finding letter stickers on clearance from Hobby Lobby. You can get nicer stickers than at the Dollar Tree, although I do use Dollar Tree stickers sometimes. Anyways, I'm using what I have on hand. Then I also have these foam glitter stickers from Dollar Tree in my stash, and so I just put a few of those around, and we've got a little hot cocoa sign, which will be cute, on my tier tray. So now we're going to go do the same thing on the other side that I ended up painting black. Now you could, at certain angles, you could still see the writing through it, so you could just do some scrap paper, but I didn't have any scrap paper that I really liked for what I was going for, so I just decided that it wasn't really that noticeable, and with everything going on my tier tray, you wouldn't be able to notice. So on the other side, I just did Hello Winter. We're going to put some Mod Podge over top to help keep the stickers down, and I kind of forgot, so I went over just the snowflake stickers when I did the red side. And then I did not like the little white marker line. I just felt like it, I don't know, it was too faint. So I'm just taking some white yarn and I'm going to wrap it around and tie it in a bow. I only wrapped it around twice the first time because I wanted to do the same thing on the flip side. And in order to be able to just tie a bow, I knew I'd just be able to wrap it around again. So I hope that makes sense. You can use ribbon, you can use twine, you can do whatever makes your little heart happy. And this way I thought I could, either your tier tray could be seen from both sides, and mine cannot, but I can flip it around when I take my Christmas stuff down and still use this on my tier tray for winter. So I thought that was kind of a win-win. And that is going to do it for today's video. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.